Husband initially struggled with wife's post-plastic surgery appearance due to family pressure. After a heartfelt talk, they decided to work on their relationship, seek counseling, and exclude her family from future decisions. They committed to adjusting and rebuilding their bond. This is their story and advice after.
Okay, Inevitable 7692. AITA for being truthful and admitting that I find my wife unattractive after her surgery. My wife had plastic surgery recently. We had discussed it and I was against it. It was not my decision and ultimately I had no say. She looks weird now. She had the fat sucked out of her face, lip fillers, a neck lift, other stuff I don't really get. She gives me uncanny valley vibes now. It freaks me out. She is fully healed now and she wants us to go back to normal. Like me initiating sex. I have done so but not as much as I used to. And when I do I try and make sure there is very little light. It's been a few months and I kind of dread having to look at her. Obviously she has noticed. She has been bugging me to tell her what's up. I've tried telling her I'm just tired from work. Or that I'm run down. Really anything except for the truth. She broke down and asked me if I was having an affair. I said that I wasn't. She asked to look at my phone. I unlocked it for her and handed it over. I wasn't worried about her finding anything because there is nothing to find. She spent an hour looking through it and found nothing. She asked me to explain why I changed. I tried explaining that I just wasn't that interested right now. Nothing I said was good enough for her. She kept digging. I finally told the truth. I wasn't harsh or brutally honest. I just told her that her new face wasn't something I found attractive and that I was turned off. She asked if that's why I turn off all the lights now. I said yes. She started crying and said that she needed time alone. She went to stay with her sister. I have been called every name in the book since this happened. Her sister said I'm a piece of shit for insulting my wife's looks. Her friends all think I'm the asshole. I tried not to say anything. I can't force myself to find her attractive. I still love her, but her face is just weird now. She looks like the blue alien from The Fifth Element. Update on finding my wife unattractive after her plastic surgery. My wife came home yesterday and we finally had a long talk. She told me that the reason she had the surgery was because her mom and sister talked her into it. They convinced her that she was starting to look old and that I would find someone else to be with if she did not do something. That was why her mom gave her the money for the operations. Her mom and sister look like Bruce Campbell in Escape from LA. They are the very last people on the planet that should be telling anyone to get plastic surgery. I used some of the comments I read on my post as talking points. I told her that I loved her and that she was the person that I wanted to spend my life with. I told her that the surgery would take a while longer to settle down and that as I got more used to her new face I would learn to appreciate it. She asked me if I wanted her to see if she could get it reversed. I almost screamed at her. The last thing in the world I want is for her to fuck up her face more than it already is. I asked her if she could please just leave it and let me get used to it. We talked for about 3 hours and we decided that her mom and sister would not be a part of any decisions in our life going forward. She is going to leave her face alone and give me a chance to get used to it. We are going to look for a marriage counselor and maybe individual counselors for each of us. I am going to make an effort to show her every day how I still find her desirable, and she is going to make an effort to believe me when I tell her I love her the way she is. We are going to talk to her mom and sister and tell them that we are taking a break from them. We are going to block them and get our shit together before we allow them back into our lives. Thank you to everyone who tried to help me. I would like to add that I did not think there were that many guys out there with a weird blue squid lady fetish. It isn't for me, but you do you.
Hey there, read it here. It sounds like you've been through a really tough situation with your wife's plastic surgery and the aftermath of expressing your feelings about it. First of all, it's essential to recognize that honesty is important in a relationship, but the way we communicate our feelings can significantly impact our partners. Your honesty about finding your wife's post-surgery appearance unattractive was undoubtedly difficult for her to hear, and it's understandable that she was hurt by it. The way we perceive ourselves and our appearance is deeply personal, and any negative comments, especially from a loved one, can be incredibly painful. It's positive that you and your wife had a long talk about what happened and the reasons behind her decision to undergo surgery. Understanding the influence of her family on her decision is crucial for both of you to move forward. It's unfortunate that external pressures led her to make a choice that ultimately affected your relationship, but acknowledging this and taking steps to rectify it is a positive move. Seeking the help of a marriage counselor and possibly individual counselors for each of you is a wise decision. A neutral third party can provide guidance and support as you navigate this challenging time in your relationship. Additionally, setting boundaries with her family and taking a break from their influence while you work on your marriage is a healthy step. Remember, rebuilding trust and rekindling intimacy takes time and effort from both partners. It's great that you're committed to showing your wife that you still find her desirable and love her for who she is. Keep communicating openly and honestly with each other, and be patient as you work through this together. Lastly, it's important to be mindful of the impact of your words and actions on your wife's self-esteem. While it's okay to have preferences, it's crucial to express them with empathy and sensitivity, especially when it comes to something as personal as appearance. Overall, it sounds like you're both taking positive steps towards repairing your relationship, and I wish you all the best as you continue on this journey together. Let's end this with a few comments from other users. Devious Whippet. I am not confident in my appearance at all. But you know who tell me I'm beautiful, even though I look like a yam? My mom and sisters. Fuck your wife's family for doing that to her. Edit. Your replies have made this root veg so sodding happy, and I'm so sorry that some of you don't have the family support you should have, but please believe me when I say you are beautiful and the only ugly thing is your loved ones' comments. Thank you everyone for making me smile, smiley face. Flaming Trolls. You and your wife will need to keep in mind that her mother and sister, Bruce Campbell's faced, purposefully sabotaged her face. Yes, really. It may be subconscious or consciously, but it is very odd to read the state of play and how this came about. I advise you to research cluster B types, if you are not already aware. Every family seems to have at least one petty, spiteful, jealous, covetous, disruptive, and sometimes dangerous family member, or in-law, that is naturally inclined and often outright purposeful in nature to hurt everyone else. I would think very long and hard about even telling the mother and sister your intentions of taking a cooling-off period. Giving them an awareness that they harmed you and your wife, their daughter/sister, is telling them you are both vulnerable and that they affected you both. You're telling them they were successful. Them being aware you are seeking counseling or anything personal is a bad idea. They are owed nothing, they should get nothing. What they did to her is basically criminal. They should never be trusted again. Don't you realize, I know you do, I am being hyperbolic, they weaponized your wife's love for you and fear of losing you, to cause her to cut her face up. My family were psychopaths. My in-laws are sociopaths. I had to spend years teaching myself to be better and psychically recover after I left my family. My father put me in a coma, and I almost died. Then again the same with my wife, and her family. Her mother broke her, until she developed an eating disorder, and she almost died. My wife was a former athlete and runway model. She was the last to need such attention. Her mother was jealous, and my wife was susceptible back then. Today, my wife is strong, and doesn't interacted with her family. Minus, her amazing younger sister. They no longer engage in being abused. I am so proud of them. These types of people are dangerous. Even if you're not sure they are malicious, look at what they have already made your wife do to herself. So, you owe it to each other to be very cautious with such people. Give them nothing. Quarantine them. Look what they've already done to her, you are each other's partner, protecting each other is of paramount importance. You've got this, OP, folded hands, medium light skin tone. There are a few different ways to handle such situations. One effective approach I've found is often successful 99 times out of 100. However, consistently managing it can be challenging as it doesn't involve engaging with them for a while. In a nutshell, for all these types, ego plays a significant role in their identity, and being triggered is something most of them cannot handle. Systemically, many family members, out of a safety instinct, tend to ignore the behavior, make excuses for it, and quickly forget about it. Unfortunately, the person pointing it out often receives more hostilities and may be isolated. It's like killing the messenger. A shorter version of dealing with them involves treating everything they say as a joke. Whether it's a rude comment, an attempt to exclude you, or embarrassment, never take offense. Act as if everything they say is the funniest thing in the world. When their serious demeanor clashes with your light-hearted approach, they may become agitated, angry, or even break physically or verbally. Your job is to act surprised, hurt, and only repeat, "I thought you were making a joke. You have a great sense of humor, and I thought we were getting along great." You'll know the exact type of language to use based on the interactions and the type of environment, and the family members themselves involved. It might need to be simpler language or it may be more sophisticated, but the general approach is the same. Consider a simple example to illustrate how this approach can be effective. Picture a moment in your past, perhaps in school, university, at work, with family, friends, or in a public setting. You find yourself surrounded by individuals laughing about something. It's evident they aren't laughing at you or discussing you. However, there's a brief moment, if not longer, when you instinctively pause and wonder, are they talking about me? Are they making fun of me? Am I the odd person out? In that moment, you might experience a subconscious or unconscious negative emotion, perhaps anger or discomfort. Now, magnify this scenario for a cluster B person. Unlike you, they often won't exhibit the same impulse control. Their immediate reaction to feeling disliked is likely more intense and less restrained. It is then only a matter of time. Never let them or your family and friends know your strategy. By consistently triggering negative reactions, they may isolate themselves by acting out, and others will begin to see them differently. Avoid giving them emotional energy, as these people thrive on causing disruption and separating you from other family members. If you don't react and even support them leading to their misbehaving, they may lose out, and people won't want to be around them anymore. When they realize they won't win, they'll likely stop showing up because they won't get any more emotional energy. After about 6 months, my mother-in-law stopped coming to social events. After a year she stopped harassing and abusing other family members. She was no longer getting what she was used to getting from people, disrupting and hurting them. My background was / 30+ years talent management. I've interviewed 6 figures of individuals, from every walk of life. I've written workbooks and textbook sections on interpretations and behavior. I'm modestly known in my circles, background and expertise. So this was an area that I felt comfortable with when I first met my future mother-in-law, and found out the behavior that they were used to dealing with from her. My wife, her younger sister, and family were so much happier in the years to come. Her mother and father got a divorce. Her father remarried. An amazing woman who's made him so happy. She's fit in so well with the family. And we haven't heard from my mother-in-law in 2 years. Now to be clear, if she wasn't so horrible to my wife, and wasn't so nasty to me, and everyone else, I would have never looked to use this method. But she was, and so I did. I don't like to casually advocate for treating people in such a matter. Unless it is an extreme situation. Dark_mode_nose_wind. Many tough elements here, her self-esteem, body dysmorphia, being influenced by her mom and sister, you losing attraction for now. Which leads us to the 5th element, damn that was funny. Glad you're making the effort and continuing to love your wife.